welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a story that proves the sharpest weapon in any battle isn't a sword, but a quick mind. It is the story of how one woman has brilliant idea, but just enough time to change the course of history. Let's set the scene. The year is 1745. The Jacobite Rising is in full swing in Scotland, a dramatic attempt to restore the Stuart dynasty to the British throne. Bonnie Prince Charlie's army is on the march, and the government forces, led by the Duke of Cumberland, are determined to stop them. Caught right in the middle is a small town, a strategic crossroads that both sides desperately want to control. The Jacobite army is just hours away, and the town's small garrison of government soldiers is massively outnumbered. They know they can't win a direct fight. Their only hope is to hold out long enough for reinforcements to arrive. But the relief force is still a day's march away. Panic is starting to set in. Surrender seems inevitable. The garrison commander, a seasoned but weary officer, gathers his men. The mood is grim. They're preparing for their final stand, a battle they know they will lose. They calculate they can hold the town's barricades for maybe an hour tops. They need a miracle. They need more time. And that's when our hero enters the story. Her name wasn't Macintosh, but history would remember her as Colonel Anne. She was the wife of the local clan chief who was away serving with the government forces. But Anne's loyalties were secretly with the Jacobites. Hearing the government soldiers were fortifying her town, she knew she had to act, but she couldn't risk open conflict. Instead of raising a banner, she raised a glass. As the exhausted government commander sat in his makeshift headquarters, contemplating his grim fate, there was a knock at the door. It was a Macintosh, inviting him and his officers to dinner at her nearby estate. It was an audacious move. An enemy, technically, inviting them for a feast on the eve of a battle. The commander was suspicious, but the offer of a warm meal and fine wine was too tempting to refuse. He figured a short break wouldn't hurt. He accepted, leaving his second-in-command in charge of the town's defenses. At Moy Hall, Anne was the perfect hostess. The food was magnificent, the wine flowed freely, and her conversation was captivating. She charmed the officers, telling stories, asking about their families, and making them forget the impending battle. The commander, who had planned to stay for just an hour, found himself losing track of time. 1 hour turned into 2, then 3. The fire was warm, the company was good, and the war felt 1,000,000 miles away. Meanwhile, back in the town, a small group of Anne's loyal retainers, whose fiber men were putting the second phase of her plan into action. Under the cover of darkness, they spread out in the woods surrounding the town. On a signal, they began to shout the war cries of different Jacobite clans. Fire there! Muskets into the air, and make as much noise as humanly possible. To the nervous soldiers at the barricades, it sounded like the entire Jacobite army was descending upon them from all directions. Chaos erupted. The second-in-command, believing they were under a full-scale assault, and with his senior officers all absent, panicked. He ordered an immediate and disorderly retreat. The government soldiers fled the town, convinced they had narrowly escaped a massacre. By the time the commander and his officers finally left Anne's dinner party, they returned to find an empty town. They had been completely outsmarted. and Macintosh and her 5 men had routed a force of over 1,500 soldiers without a single casualty. The Jacobites, when they arrived, walked into the town unopposed. Anne's brilliant ruse, known as the Rout of Moy, bought crucial time and momentum for the Jacobite cause. The government army needed a few more seconds of resolve. And Macintosh bought her side Meanie Sowers, really of confusion and opportunity. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most effective strategy isn't about brute force, but about understanding human nature, our desires, our fears, and our tendency to get distracted by a good dinner. What a story, right? It just goes to show you that history is full of these incredible moments of cleverness. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories you might not have heard in history class.